The first thing is to be incredibly organized, okay? This business initially is pretty simple because when you only have 3 clients, it's pretty easy to stay organized and you can keep everything up here. As your business grows and you have more clients, there's more stuff to do and it becomes more complicated. So probably the biggest lesson, which I learned in a corporate world, was to be very organized. We're very structured. We're very process oriented. We're not reinventing the wheel all the time. Be organized right from the beginning. You may not think you need to, but you will need to be more organized later on. So that's probably the biggest lesson that I actually learned outside of this business I learned in the corporate world. And then just rehearsing on how to talk to people, right? We did a lot of that. We did a lot of scripting. We did a lot of conversations with each other. One thing I learned from another producer a long time ago is you cannot love your client's financial plan more than they do. You can't, right? Because if you love their financial plan more than they do, you're gonna become incredibly frustrated. So what I try to do is I tell my clients this all the time. All I can do is bring you suggestions on things you should be doing. Then you as an adult get to make that decision as to what you want to do and what you don't want to do. However, as an adult, you also have to live with the decisions that you're making. I find that if you try to push people too much, they'll resist big time. Instead, when you're pulling them up to their potential, they're a little bit more open to doing that, right? But in the end, it's their decision. And what I have found is that balance has become a lot easier when I stopped explaining the technicality of things and started relaying how those things work with stories. So what I've found to be true is that clients retain about 10% of what you tell them. I have a client who's been my client for like 10 years. He calls his life insurance policy an annuity, right? They're not the same thing. I've explained to him 10 times. But to him, it doesn't matter to me. He knows how it works. I don't care what he calls it. He just knows that, hey, I got this. I know how it works. Ever told me I should be doing it. I'm doing it. It works the way it's supposed to. I'm good, right? So what I found is that people don't retain a lot of that technical stuff, but they do retain the stories, right? And in this business, stories are a really great way of getting people to realize that, yeah, they do indeed need to do that. I think on a day-to-day basis, there's 2 things that we use all the time, every single day. Our Outlook calendars and the living balance sheet. So let me talk about how we use those. Everything that we do in our business is scheduled. Everything, whether it's administrative time, client meetings, client preparation, it is all scheduled on a calendar. It's all color coded. So we always know what we're doing that week. And by Friday, we have planned out the following week too. So we know exactly what we're doing at every time. There's no gaps. Every gap is filled in with things that we have to do. So our Outlook calendar is invaluable to us because that's kind of how we run our day, how we run our practice. We also use the Outlook calendar for reminders, right? We like to think that we're the most important thing in our clients' lives. We're not. As soon as they have a meeting with us, they're off to dance class, whatever, and they forget all about the things that we told them they needed to do. So we use our calendar to remind ourselves to send emails to our clients to remind them of the things they need to do for us. So every single day, our Outlook calendar is probably a tool that we use all the time. The second tool that we use for planning is the living balance sheet, okay? So we don't use the living balance sheet for everything. To me, the living balance sheet is a hammer. Just like it's a tool, right? You don't drive in whatever screws with a hammer, right? Use a drill. So for us, we use the living balance sheet every day, but we use it selectively to tell stories to our clients of the things they should be doing and why they're doing it. So we use it as a storytelling tool, but I don't go through every single module of the living balance sheet with every client. We just don't do that. We don't think that's necessary, but we do use it selectively. But with every client gets put on the living balance sheet. They always get to see all their financials, they get to see net worth, and we use it selectively to go over a couple other topics. But if there are 2 tools that we use every day, those are the 2 tools that we use.